Welcome to day 20 of the 21 Days of Prayer podcast with REVO Church. We only have 2 more days left, including today. So thanks for taking the journey with us of prayer through these first few weeks of 2025. I have the expert on day 20 of the prayer devotion with me here today. So go ahead and introduce yourself.
Well, first off, Matthew, thanks for having me here.
Yeah, of course.
Great to be here. My name is Steve. Steve Medina. I'm our Walkertown campus worship leader.
Thanks for being here, Steve. Honored to have him. As you can tell, he's a big Dolphins fan, and as of now, when we record this, the Dolphins are doing well. We'll see what happens.
They're going to win out, and they're going to go to the Super Bowl, and they're going to win it all.
Oh, okay. Wow. Well, when day 20 of the 21 Days of Prayer officially hits the airwaves, we will see. It'll be midway through January, so we really will see.
A lot of prayer for that.
Steve, as you guys probably have read already on day 20, he wrote on Proverbs 3, as well as using a story in Genesis 22 for day 20 of the 21 Days of Prayer. So I wanted to ask you, first off, right off the bat, how'd you connect that topic or that verse in Proverbs 3 and Genesis 22 to prayer? How'd you connect those two?
Sure. Well, I got to tell you what, to have God speak to you and tell you to sacrifice your only son.
Yep.
And
as a man with 2 sons, that's
and then to be prepared to do it. That is completely trusting in God, and that is completely relying on God, which is what that verse in Proverbs tell you, is to not lean on your own understanding. And how tough that has to be to look at your son and take him on a 3-day journey and actually get ready to sacrifice him. It's just amazing to me that he trusted in God and God put him to the test and he passed that test. So
yeah, that incredible idea of we're going to go sacrifice, and you bring all these things with you, but no animal to sacrifice. And it's almost as if at the end of the story, when they're finally ascending the mountain, Isaac's realizing,
is it me?
Yeah.
Is it me?
Yeah. What, Dad, what are we going to sacrifice?
Don't worry. God will provide it.
Yep.
Don't worry.
And that trust.
Don't worry.
In God. Yeah. Yep. I love that. And that's why Abraham's mentioned in Hebrews 11 in that Hall of Faith chapter as being this wonderful man of faith, because he looked and he realized, I know that this is not what God's going to do. Right. And so I know he's going to provide. I know I can trust him.
Yep.
Therefore, not leaning on his own understanding, because I think all of us we would have been quite worried about it.
Well, that whole verse, we've all heard it numerous times. Me specifically, and I got to tell you what, there was a point in time where Naomi and I were in South Carolina. We had just bought a house. We've got Giovanni and Juliana. Gatsby is not even a thought yet. And we just bought a house. We'd lived there for 6 months, 8 months, and all of a sudden, you guys have to move for the 6th time in 8 years to North Carolina. And we went kicking and screaming, and had we not made that trip, had we not trusted in God, would we be here today? More than likely not. So
right.
It's just pretty incredible to just put the trust in God and know that He's got the pieces to the puzzle,
right,
or the box, if you will, and you have the pieces, and you have no idea what's going on.
Yeah. He's got the whole picture already laid out. Yeah, and you never know what might come from that trust, and so that now we're all getting to be beneficiaries of Steve's family and Steve being here. But you guys first had to be willing to trust in God, not lean on your own understanding after being there in South Carolina. So as we think about Proverbs 3, Genesis 22, these verses connecting with prayer, what's something that was really challenging as you were writing this, trying to come up with what is it that God wants to say in this devotion?
Yeah, well, I felt like an imposter. Like, why would you guys ask me to write this?
Right.
Really, that was what was challenging to me. Like, could I take the verse? Could I take the story in Genesis, and could I make it make sense in what happened in my life and what has possibly happened in other people's lives? So that was my hope, was that I could make it relatable to other people as they read through the 20th day, essentially.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, I thought you did a great job. So I know I know you were wondering like what
Signing autographs
what the
later.
heck? Yeah. Or just after this, go to the REVO Walkertown campus and he'll be selling autographs.
Maybe.
No, I thought day 20 was great. What was something that you took from this and learned from it as you were writing it? And maybe something you applied to your life, or just something that you learned in general as you studied those and read through those and ended up writing day 20 the way that you did.
Right. Yeah. So it's essentially just any time that I've got any trials going on in my life, you got to spend time in the Word. And you got to pray about it, and you just have to trust in God. I mean, I know it seems very vanilla and very surface level, but at the end of the day, I mean, Naomi, the same thing. If she's stressed out with something, did you pray about it?
Right.
Did you ask God? Did you go to God, or are you looking to me for the answer? Because like, I can help you, and you're really not supposed to offer your opinion. You're supposed to just listen.
Yep.
But that to be said, you've got to start with the person, the being that is never, ever, ever going to let you down. Like Naomi's going to let me down constantly. She's a human. My children are going to let me down. Matthew, you're going to let me down. People are going to let us down. God is not going to let you down though. So why wouldn't we start there with him?
Yeah.
So, I think after going through this has just kind of reiterated it for me. Like that's where I've got to start. I've got to start in the Word, and I've got to start with God, not with others.
Yeah, I was sharing I mean, it sounds like you said so basic and plain and simple, especially because this guy's a good friend of mine. He's a good Christian man, and so like to be able to say, hey, we just got to trust God with it.
Yep.
And leave it in his hands, and it take the steps that you've got to take as you make decisions or as you're struggling with this, and you're always trusting God for stuff. And so just take those next steps, sure, but realize that the ultimate results are up to him. That he's going to produce those things. And so it's a good point to make. And I like that we've even done it so that the trusting in God is in the latter half, not even the latter half. This is second to last day of the 21 days of prayer, because when 21 days of prayer is over, it's going to be, oh, I don't have a devotion to read today. Oh, I don't have a podcast to listen to today. Oh, somebody's not going to ask me at church, if I've been doing the 21 days of prayer or something like that. And so you're going to need that constant reminder of the importance of trusting in God for it. So as we wrap it up on day 20, I want to give you the opportunity. You said it's very plain and simple. Trust God. What's the next step though? What's the practical application point? Maybe a how-to for those that have read day 20 and are listening to the podcast that you'd encourage us to put into practice in our lives?
Yep. I think that easy answer here, they say it takes 21 days to form a habit.
Yep.
So I don't find it a coincidence that, how many years have we done this now? The 21 days of prayer?
Good question.
Several years. It's not a coincidence that we do this 21 days of prayer. It takes 21 days to form a habit, right? So we're on the 20th day now.
Yep.
My hope is that people have made it this far, that they're on the 20th day and they're going to finish it out tomorrow, and that this will help guide them to maybe choose some devotionals. I mean, you got that Bible app. It's fantastic. Yep. You can just search devotionals in there with children, with parenting, co-parenting, whatever it may be that might be going through your life. But there's plenty of resources there, and I know that the resources that REVO has, and that you, Stephen, Nathan have, people can definitely be pointed in the right direction to continue praying. And it needs to be a daily thing, not just hey God, I'm here, I need this, here's my list of requests. No, how about we go to God daily and thank him first before we start asking things.
Man, I love that. No better way to conclude day 20 and to think about the conclusion of the 21 days of prayer is to say, let's think right now about how we can start to build and foster that trust in God for the future in day 22 and day 23 and beyond of 2025, and say, all right, let's find something right now. That great challenge. So let's do that. Let's take something right now, Google something, maybe you search it, maybe you text your campus pastor or Steve and you're good friends with Steve, so you ask him or somebody that who's a good trusted Christian friend and ask them, what's next for me? What's going to be the thing that I do on day 22? Because there won't be a day of devotion to read or a podcast to listen to. And so find something that you can start on day 22. Don't prepare for day 22 on day 22. Start right now on day 20 and be ready for the conclusion of this 21 days of prayer. Thanks for that challenge, Steve. And thanks for coming on and sharing all that and writing day 20.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Hope it's been a blessing for you guys and that God's using these 21 days of prayer to spark a revolution of life change in your heart and in your life through Jesus. We'll see you guys tomorrow for the last and final day of the 21 days of prayer in 2025.